And it's welcome to the big league. An excellent day at Lang Park, fine and sunny for this Woolies Trophy final, and we've got a crowd of about 12,000 here for the big game. Should be worth watching. David.
Should be a really good one, Arthur. The top two teams we've got here in Brisbane at the moment, they both played so far in the finals, in the Woolies final and in the State League final. So there's no doubt these are the top two teams in Brisbane right at this moment. If we recap on last week's games, Brothers had a winning margin of 18 points, Wynnum-Manly had a winning margin of 16. But don't get too carried away with that, because Brothers on one hand were very convincing in their demolition of Valleys, whereas Wynnum-Manly took a late start into the match, and it wasn't until the 60th minute they got their act into gear and scored 4 tries in the last 20 minutes. So Wynnum-Manly not exactly in top form, and of course they've been upset somewhat by the loss of their captain and hooker for today's game, David Green. Of course, they won't have too much trouble filling the captain's role. Wally Lewis had a little bit of experience in that area, so there'll be no worries, but certainly around the rucks is where they're going to really miss David Green's organisational ability. A real test for Brothers this afternoon, because they've played well when they haven't necessarily been under a lot of pressure. Wynnum-Manly are known pressure players, and it'll be a test for Brothers this afternoon to see if they can withstand the pressure that Wynnum-Manly certainly are going to throw at them during the match. A few moments ago, Arthur spoke with last week's man of the match, Joe Kilroy.
Joe, you had a great day out last Sunday, scoring 3 tries and a hand in quite a few others. How did it feel?
Oh, it's just the rewards from backing up, Arthur. It's just basic fundamental football.
You prefer to play in the fullback position?
I'll play my better games there. Preference or not doesn't really come into it. It's where you put, I suppose.
Yes, but you do feel happier in the fullback position?
Definitely happier, yeah.
Yeah, just you can pick your time to come in.
Yes, well, the opportunities there, you can read the play a bit better from back there. So, you can see a break coming up, you'll just try to get there.
Yeah. Well, what about today?
Today's a different ball game. The champion team is Wynnum Mob. We've been playing pretty well. We still have room for improvement, but their improvement rate at this stage is a lot more than ours, so obviously they are a good side.
A lot of people are saying it's an even money game. Would you agree with that?
At this stage, yeah, I would. They're not doing anything we haven't done.
There's the Brothers side, and of course Joe Kilroy playing in his favoured fullback position. At halfback, Henry Foster returns to the side for Craig McAlpine, and of course in the front row, Brett Ferguson comes in. He finally gets his chance for the injured Trevor Smith. The Wynnum-Manly side, Greg Dowling comes into the second row wearing number 10 for the injured Brian Corn, who suffered a very bad leg injury last week, and Craig Ferrugia comes in for the injured David Green at hooker. Craig Ferrugia, 23 years of age, replaces Wynnum-Manly captain David Green for today's game, and what a utility player he is. He was on standby for Wally Lewis, who had a cloud over him today, but he's taken his place in the side, so good work from Ferrugia. Could have played 5'8" or hooker in today's game. It's his first year with Wynnum-Manly. He played 8 games first grade hooker for Eastern Suburbs in Sydney last season. He's also played under 18 in Sydney, and he's very keen to stay in Brisbane if possible. Brett Ferguson in Brothers front row today at 26 years of age. He's played twice for Brisbane and suffered a knee injury in the Woolies final this season. He was out for 8 weeks with that injury. Gets his chance today, of course, with an injury to another front rower, Trevor Smith. He's a talented ball player, and he's looking forward to going to England in the off-season if the right offer comes along.
Referee for the match is Eddie Ward, with Brothers running from the northern end of the ground in the first half with a slight breeze behind them as it's deep into Wynnum-Manly territory, and it's Brad Morgan, the fullback for Wynnum, up to the quarter line. Now Ferrugia for Wynnum, hooker in that dummy half position, but it's a penalty to Wynnum. Brothers in offside position, and so the Seagulls get the chance to get well away from their own quarter line, with Wally Lewis, the captain today, kicking for the line in front of the grandstand.
It was a poor play the ball by Brad Morgan, in actual fact caught Brothers off guard in that there was a couple of little dummies at the play the ball.
Brothers, Wynnum on that second movement as Kajewski takes it just over the halfway mark. Back to Dawes, the halfback, and left behind by Coyne. The ball knocked on, so we'll have a scrum on the halfway mark.
Let's have a look how these sides have fared this year. 3 wins to Wynnum-Manly, and of course who could forget the big win by Brothers only in June the 9th, 48 points to 12, when Wynnum was well below strength. Of course the March the 31st clash, when Wynnum-Manly won at 32-10, was the Woolies final, and when Wynnum-Manly won 16-0, it was the State League final.
Now we see Dan Staines taking it up to Kilroy, the fullback, getting up there very quickly, and Wynnum are watching him very closely and swarm him, shove him into touch. Wynnum have certainly had a good look at the game last week on television, I'd say.
Yes, they're going to watch Kilroy closely, and Kilroy's appealing here that Ian French took the ball off him before he actually went into touch, and he's claiming that Brothers should have loose head and ball. Eddie Ward doesn't see it that way, nor does the touch judge.
Wynnum ball, Dawes, just inside Wynnum's territory by about 8 metres. Now that's Butler sending his pass to Lewis, and onto the pass is Brett French in the centres. Craig Ferrugia, his dummy half to Dawes. Lewis gets away from the first tackler and flips it back to his winger, and he's lost it. Butler. Brothers ball, Roach playing it back. And this is Klein from the left side wing.
It'll be interesting to watch Lewis very closely today, Arthur, because he has had a neck injury during the week. He was engraved out for today's game. And, of course, it'll be interesting to see whether he's prepared to hit the line today or whether he's just prepared to organise things, kick and pass.
Ferguson playing it back for Brothers. Spun across then to the 5'8" Smith. And then Grogan just about taken out of the play by Butler coming in quickly. But Tim Dwyer has it for Brothers still as it comes to Foster. Henry Foster out with a knee injury last week, back in the lineup today. And this is Smith, the 5'8", Greg Smith.
Brothers trying to do things a little bit too early. I feel they do better to settle down against Wynnum-Manly before they get too fancy.
Staines, 10 metres inside Wynnum-Manly territory. The final tackle. Across to Foster, and that kick for the line, a good, no, out on the full. It looked for a moment as if it was going to be forward, but a good kick. Tony Kajewski to play it back. To Dawes, Lewis outside of him, and dummies on everywhere, but Lewis well and truly wrapped up.
Of course, that's what Brothers are going to do. They're going to put Lewis on the deck.
Across to Coyne, the front row for Wynnum, breaks the first tackle. 10 metres out on the final tackle. Ferrugia is there. And a little crick ahead, straight into Kilroy's arms, and away goes Joe. Beats a couple of tackles and does well to clear his line by 10 metres. Now Russell Klein's into the dummy half position, a powerhouse winger. Bailey, the captain of the Brothers, dummy half, and here's Ferguson. Ferguson's been playing very well in recent weeks for Brothers, mainly, of course, in reserve grade. Brothers just outside their quarter line. Back it comes to Tim Dwyer over the halfway mark, and Warren Green playing on the left wing for Wynnum-Manly is tackled by Foster and also Tynan, the winger. Colin Scott's up into the dummy half position. I think he'd like to be playing fullback today somehow or other, don't you, David?
Yes, Wynnum-Manly in an awkward position here because they really haven't got another centre there with the attacking capabilities. And they're being forced to use Scott in the centres, mainly because also that Brad Morgan has been playing well, at least in attack at fullback. Good attacking fullback, but a little bit of a question mark on his defence.
We've seen some messy play from Wynnum with Brothers getting the ball. Now it's on across onto Roach and out to Foster. Foster doing a little of a jig, slips a pass to Kilroy. Kilroy starts to move, but well and truly hemmed him. It gets away somehow or other. He gets that one-handed pass or that floating pass back inside to Bailey. And Wynnum under a fair bit of pressure. Across to Foster. Foster then to Dwyer. And the tall, rangy centre, who's been playing fullback earlier in the season, is well and truly stopped. Ferrugia around the ankles, and Ian French, the other tackler, in their number 8 jersey. Now we see Zillman taking it up, as a front rower should, straight up, 30 metres out from Wynnum-Manly line. No score in the match at this stage. Bailey in the dummy half position for Brothers. And this time Ferguson, again, straight up. 24 metres out. On the final tackle, Bailey, Foster over his shoulders. Henry Foster had time to get the kick in, plenty of time after all that, and down it goes to Morgan, to Butler rather. Butler beats one tackle, cross field, can't get away from Grogan, but half spilled away, and then assistance from the lock forward, Dan Staines, the main tackler in there. Now Lewis sends a fairly long pass out wide to Brett French in the centres. French starts to get away, but Roach wraps him up about 18 metres out from his own line. Lewis into the dummy half position, Dowling. Greg Dowling up to the corner line, a one-handed pass back inside beautifully then to Jamot. Jamot's got the support. Ferrugia's there, can't pick it up. Loose ball, but the referee playing the knock on, and apparently a Brothers player touched it too.
Yes, it didn't look at it from here, but Eddie was pretty close to it.
Back to Smith. And the lock forwards there, across to Brett Ferguson, moving the ball to Staines. Across now into Tim Dwyer back inside, flipping that pass back and picked up by Roach. And Roach slips away very quickly, then to Klein. Russell Klein for the corner. Again, Brothers just kept out, but again, keeping Wynnum under enormous pressure. Diving there through his ropes, tries to get the ball down, but blocked by Lewis. Centimetres out the line. Climbs into the dummy half position. The Brothers. Across it comes to Staines. A longer pass then out to Smith. One across the top then as it comes to Grogan in the centres. Grogan's got the passes. Joe Kilroy's out there now. Coming back inside. Gets away from one player. Slips the pass back inside towards Grogan. And as Grogan tackled, only a few metres out from the line. It's last tackle. There it comes, Smith. Up goes the bomb. Loose ball. And it's Morgan who finishes with it for Wynnum-Manly.
Good work from Brad Morgan to take that ball. Wally Lewis still on the ground, and he'll have to be careful with any incident like that. If he's got a jink neck, a fall such as that going up for the high ball won't do it any good at all.
Across to Dowling. Greg Dowling standing in the tackle. Back it goes to halfback Peter Dawes. And Dawes does well to take it 15 metres out from his own line. Ferrugia waiting patiently for the ball to be played. There he is, and sends the pass back to Lewis. Lewis decides to pass it to Dowling. Dowling coming up the middle, well tackled by Bailey. Trevor Bailey right round the ankles. Now Ferrugia has a little run, tackled again by Bailey. Wynnum 22 metres out from their own line. No score in the match. Wally Lewis. And the ball rebounding and straight into touch.
Off a Brothers player. And the scrum to pack should be a Wynnum-Manly feed. If Brothers played at the ball, if it was just a straight out rebound, then Brothers would have the feed. Let's have a look. Wynnum-Manly feed. Scrums at the moment 4-2.
Penalty to Wynnum-Manly. We've had 15 minutes of play and there's no score as Lewis kicks for the line in front of the grandstand. And a good long punt kick too. Play up to the halfway mark. Second kick to be taken by Ferrugia, the hooker, Dawes, the halfback, and Kajewski running onto it. Ferrugia. Coyne's turn this time. Gary Coyne, 6 metres inside Brothers territory in centre field. Lewis, across this time to Ian French, the lock forward standing out wide. Brett Ferguson, one of the tacklers in there, as it's Ferrugia taking it up again. Dawes, Dowling, and slipping it back towards Kajewski, the Brothers ball.
Greg Dowling doesn't seem to be timing his runs at all well today. A couple of times he's mistimed runs when he's come from a long way back.
Grogan pushes away from French, and Grogan gets on the run over the quarter line now. He's looking for the supporter there. He's got support flying back. It comes to Grogan. Grogan looks for the line, gets the pass away now, and away it goes. He goes away and pulls himself. Grogan, well done.
Brilliant stuff from Brothers. Robert Grogan sent it away with a fine brush off to Brett French, and then if we watch in replay, we'll see Lewis come across and say, you take the outside, I'll take Robert Grogan. And of course, once Grogan offloaded early. Let's have a look at this. Grogan gets rid of Brett French first, then he's got support in Russell Klein. Wally Lewis comes across, see him pointing there on the top of the screen, then Grogan lets the ball go early, so Lewis decides to commit himself to Russell Klein. Then that left Grogan unmarked, and Grogan was allowed to come back inside, outside again, and then around to place the ball. What a great try from Brothers, and they've looked particularly good when they've got the ball out wide and spread it around. There it is, good work from Robert Grogan, pushed off one of the best centres in the game in Brett French. Then Russell Klein in good support. Robert Grogan then comes in just a little bit, then looks out to Russell Klein and says, okay, do your thing. Klein, ever alert, flicks it straight back in. Lewis had been committed on the outside then Robert Grogan, wrong puts to defence. Terry Butler couldn't get him, neither could Brad Morgan, and Brothers gone in for a fine try.
Tim Dwyer attempting the conversion, 10 metres in from touch and 18 metres out from the try line. Tim Dwyer's kick, pretty good kick, and the flags are up, and Brethren go to a lead of 6 points to 0 after 18 minutes of play. Play deep inside Brothers territory with the pass coming on to Tim Dwyer. Dwyer tries to get through, Scott comes through over the top, Butler was underneath. Now Kilroy's dummy half, and tries to find a gap up the middle, but runs into Scott, and a bit of work going on in there. Coyne was the other tackler.
Yes, I think Colin Scott was the culprit though, and he gets his way out to the outside centre position. Now the touch judge coming in to make the report. He's got him. Here it is again. Colin Scott, just on the blind side from the camera, but we saw enough there to suggest that he gave a little short right hand to Joey Kilroy. Wally Lewis having a few words to say to the touch judge David Shawcross, suggesting that he might keep outside the touchline.
Now the penalty awarded to Brothers, with Tim Dwyer taking the kick for the line and finding touch just inside Wynnum-Manly territory. We have 6 minutes left in this first half as it comes to Russell Klein. Brothers leading by 6 points to 0. Bailey and Ferguson. Brett Ferguson, 12 metres inside Wynnum's territory. This time Zillman. And getting it back to Bailey. Pretty well done.
That's the one that's troubling Wynnum-Manly. They expect to make that first up tackle, and when Brothers get it away, Wynnum are in trouble.
This is Ferguson sending it across to Grogan. Grogan tries to fend away. The tackler up alongside of him was Tony Jamot, but rather it was, yes, it was the hooker Ferrugia that clung to him tenaciously. The final tackle's on with Brothers 24 metres out the Wynnum-Manly line. Bailey's there, sends it back to Foster, and Foster, up it goes. Picked up by Brad Morgan, the Wynnum-Manly fullback. Warren Green. Bagged down by Tim Dwyer and company. Grogan's in there as well. Ferguson's in there as well. And now it's Warren Green still. Ferrugia. Dowling. Oh, really flew through the air. It was John McGraw who got underneath him and took the legs from under him as it comes back to Lewis. But the referee giving a penalty to Wynnum-Manly inside the 5.
Of course, it was the quick play, the ball by Greg Dowling, that really caught Brothers unawares there. Never really had time to get back when Dowling had already played the ball and the defence of line started to move up far too early.
Good kick from Ollie Lewis. Takes play inside Brothers territory by a couple of metres. And we've only got 4 minutes left in this half as Kajewski takes it up for Wynnum-Manly this time. Brothers leading 6-0. Dawes, and that's Coyne. Ferrugia back to the blind side. Jamot, the second row forward, floats the pass across to Warren Green, picked up by Tynan, and well wrapped up. This time Dawes, Lewis, longer one to Scott, looks for French, it's a short one to French. Ian French, away he goes now, flying across the quarter line, but the pass goes astray, or it was shot out of his arms, and it's a Brothers ball. Joe Kilroy in possession. Good sharp run then from Ian French.
Greg Smith, another try saver. Brilliant tackle from Greg Smith.
This is the front row forward, Zillman. Bailey, Staines, beats the tackle of the hooker, but can't beat Ian French. Bailey, Foster, and Roach, with Ferguson outside of him, and getting it back again to Roach. French, the centre, one of the tacklers, and the other one was Dawes, who's doing an enormous amount of tackling for Wynnum-Manly today. This is Bailey. Back to French, to Smith, switched it on to Dwyer. Tim Dwyer said, well, I'll kick it. And out on the full by quite some metres.
Yeah, Wynnum-Manly putting pressure on. Smith was the one who was originally going to put the kick in, and of course Dwyer not expecting it when he got it back, wasn't set for it.
Scrums now favour Wynnum, 7-6. Dowling, dummy half. Lewis, out it goes to Colin Scott, bursting through. Only 10 metres out. Can Wynnum score before half-time and level the scores? This time it's back to Lewis, switched across to Dawes, and there's Kajewski. Tony Kajewski hoping to pass it back, but has to die with the ball, 9 metres out from Brothers' line. Dowling, there's French. Ian French swarmed on by Brothers' jerseys, about half the team. Only a few metres out. Lewis is there, sends the pass in, Dowling leaving it behind. Brothers' ball. John McGraw will play it back. Chris Roach in the dummy half position. That was Wynnum's chance to score before half-time, it seems. Brothers leading by 6 points to 0. Joe Kilroy's there and has a run up the middle. Clears his line by 12 metres. Zillman, and at 6 tackles to go as it hit a Wynnum-Manly player. Brothers 22 metres out from their own line now. Bailey's there to distribute. Ferguson. Brett Ferguson straight up the middle and floats the pass back, but lost ball for a moment. Picked up by McGraw, gets it away now very quickly to Foster. Foster's got the full back to beat, gets back inside, looks for the support, and there's Bailey backing up beautifully. Bailey's always backing up. Good play then by Foster and Brothers. And Bailey, of course, always there. Big hand from this crowd of 12,000 odd here today as it comes back to Foster over his shoulder. 6 more tackles to go. Loose on the ground, picked up again by Brothers, but the knock-on to be played this time. Was some exciting play.
Yeah, good work from Brothers. Cleared their line well, and of course Eddie Ward getting a little bit of criticism there for not getting Wynnum-Manly off when Warren Green was doing everything to stop the play. But Brothers had great opportunity. Had they got the ball out wide, they had really Wynnum-Manly outnumbered well and true. Let's see it again. Bailey away to Henry Foster. Look at him fancy footwork here because he goes straight around Brad Morgan, and it was only Craig Ferrugia coming in support that knocked him over. Then he got the ball back up again. Good work there from Bailey to still be on his feet. And then it was Warren Green who tried to delay play, and Eddie Ward just let it go, possibly a touch too long.
From the scrum, we see Dawes in possession for Wynnum-Manly. Only a few seconds left in the first half as it comes to Dowling onto Lewis, and there's the half-time hooter. Wally Lewis caught in possession, gives it on to Scott. Scott tries to keep it going, floats it back again to Brett French in the centres, and he's tackled, and that's it for half-time, with Brothers getting a big hand from this crowd, leading the strong Wynnum-Manly side by 6 points to 0. And we see that Brothers have scored the only try of the match, scored by Robert Grogan in the 16th minute. Now in the scrums department, the scrums favour Wynnum-Manly 8-6. The penalties go to Wynnum 7-4, and the scrum penalties go to Wynnum 3-1. Hello. Got the breeze with him, second half.
You're going to need it too.
Wynnum-Manly to restart play. Wally Lewis running with the breeze behind them in this the second half, running from the northern end of the ground. And all's in readiness with Wally Lewis to restart play. Deep to Brothers fullback Joe Kilroy, and Kilroy 12 metres out from his own line. Now Brothers are on a treble here today, having won the third grade 26-0 and the reserve grade by 34 points to 22.
First half really interesting, contrasting attacking styles. Brothers prepared to get the ball out wide every chance they got, and in doing that they certainly troubled Wynnum-Manly. On the other hand, Wynnum-Manly seldom strung together more than 2, possibly 3 passes, which put them pretty close to the middle of the ruck all the time, and Brothers had no trouble handling that sort of attack. So Wynnum-Manly are going to have to spread the ball a little bit wider, and Brothers just keep going the way they are because they've troubled Wynnum-Manly every time they've had possession.
Tim Dwyer puts that long kick downfield, where it's well taken by Warren Green. And Dwyer following through a beautiful tackle right round the ankles. Lewis dummy half. Cross to Scott. Scott gets going pretty quickly too, and got away from Zillman very easily, but picked up by Greg Smith. Another good tackle from the 5'8" for Brothers. Inside Brothers territory. Cross to Dawes, back to Scott, to Morgan rather, and it's Kajewski tackle. The half-back to pass. That's Lockley and French, and Coyne running strongly on that blind side. Gary Coyne, 22 metres out from Brothers' line.
Wynnum-Manly starting strongly in the second half, and well they might. Des Morris, I'm sure, would have plenty to say.
Dawes to Lewis, held up as it comes back again to Jamott racing through, the second row forward. And the final tackle's on. Greg Dowlings into the dummy half position behind Jamott, and there's the kick from Scott. And the bounce. Could have gone anywhere, that one. It's a little bit of luck, and certainly Butler was hoping for it. Back onto Kilroy from Klein, and Kilroy up to the quarter line. Good exciting run from Kilroy, and Brothers had to have an ounce of luck the way that ball bounced over the try line.
Boy, what a passage of play. It was Joe Kilroy who decided he was going to let the ball bounce, and in doing that gave a great opportunity for Terry Butler to pick it up. And when he did, when he attempted to, it was only Russell Klein in last desperation who got a hold of it. Then Brothers prepared to attack from inside their own territory.
As it comes to the half-back and across to Smith, and then Grogan. Grogan slimming it back to Kilroy and straight on to Foster, keeping the ball moving. And Wally Lewis moves in to break it up, but it's on to Bailey, and Bailey crashing down the middle there now. Terrific speed from the hooker. What a run over the quarter line now, looking for support, but finally stopped. And Wynnum defence under great pressure, and some excellent play from Brothers. What a great run from Trevor Bailey. From the dummy half position comes Roach, and then the front row forward, Ferguson. Ferguson held up. Final tackle. Injured player further back, Wynnum-Manly player, as McGraw sends his pass across to Smith, changes direction, tries to get the pass away, slips it back to McGraw, pushed back to Bailey. Bailey starts to get going again and does well to get the play on to Ferguson. Loose ball. Wynnum-Manly pick up with Lewis getting to it eventually, and it's a Wynnum-Manly ball.
Great attack once again from Brothers, and Wynnum-Manly really haven't got much of an answer once Brothers offload that ball close to the ruck.
Wynnum-Manly player still injured on the ground. Dowling sitting on the ground there too for a moment. 2 or 3 Wynnum-Manly players. Dowling's only resting. It's Morgan, I think, the injured player further back in the field, as we see Wynnum-Manly about 20 metres out in their own line. Now that's Kajewski. Well stopped by Roach. Back to Lewis for the kick.
Great kick, Lewis. Is it too far?
Yes. Lets it run dead.
And Ross Franklin, the runner there, has signalled that Staines cannot continue, and he's going to be replaced by the look of it.
Now from the tap, Zillman takes it up. Yes, Staines leaving the field, looking for the reserve coming on in 17 jersey. Johnny Tapp is the replacement for Brothers. John Tapp, the replacement in 17 jersey. And so that's a floating pass. It comes back then. Beautifully done from Roach back to Klein. Just over the halfway mark. Now Bailey's into the dummy half position for Brothers. Across it comes to Smith. Further then to Ferguson. Ferguson to Foster. Foster doing a bit of a jig for a moment. Gets the pass to Kilroy. Kilroy can't get away from French. On to Zillman. Over the halfway mark. And finally put to ground with the halfback Dawes. He's been doing a lot of tackling in this game, putting him to ground. Now it's Roach. Further across then into the centres to Tim Dwyer. Last tackle, McGraw's pass, and there's the kick from Smith. But well taken by Brad Morgan, the Wynnum-Manly fullback, and up he goes towards halfway, 10 metres short of halfway. Well stopped by Tynan. Now this is Ferrugia. Gets away from McGraw for a moment, but John Tapp's one of the tacklers in there with the winger Tynan again. Now the Dawes and Coyne. Gary Coyne. 9 metres short of halfway. Brothers leading by 6 points to 0. Dowling. Back inside to Lewis. Lewis over the halfway mark. Lewis looking for support. There it is. There's Scott. Scott's racing away now over the quarter line. Looks for the support. And Butler overshoots that pass. Dawes picks up the loose ball. But the referee saying not knocked on. So it didn't come off the hands as Butler pushes it back now, having some trouble. Eventually it was knocked on. But Wally Lewis then in action.
There it is, Lewis, straight up the middle of the ruck. Watching then come around to Greg Smith. Gets a hold of his ankle, just gets him off balance. And then it's Colin Scott who gets the ball.
And now Brothers have won the ball as Kilroy sends it across to Klein. Klein gets the ball back inside, but it's picked up by Lewis for Wynnum-Manly. And Brothers took it well downfield. Some good play then from Klein and Kilroy, but it's Wynnum-Manly back in possession in front of the grandstand. Wally Lewis to play it back from that dummy half position. Wynnum 28 metres out. Morgan to play it back. And this time Warren Green. He can't go anywhere. Perugia's into the dummy half position for Wynnum, and onto the ball comes the second rower to Jamot as he gets the ball back. Perugia playing it back. Now Dawes, Lewis, Dowling, and the short pass in front was he as he raced through. The referee saying yes, the ball went forward as Colin Scott came racing through. Brothers ball, Foster. Brothers 22 metres out from the Wynnum-Manly line, leading by 6 points to 0. 5'8" Greg Smith into the dummy half position, and onto the ball comes Chris Roach. Dowling one of the tacklers, but the first man in there was Brett French in the centres. Now it's across to Ferguson. Brett Ferguson about 14 metres out. Bailey. Had a couple of excellent runs in this game so far. Across to McGraw, further across then to the 5'8", out wide to the centres. Grogan well and truly wrapped up in a very good tackle then from Scott.
Yeah, well read by Colin Scott because Brothers were trying to make the extra man with the wrap around.
And back it comes on to Johnny Tapp, losing the ball in the tackle. Brothers race through to try to pick it up, but it's a Wynnum-Manly ball. Wally Lewis. And now Coyne rucks it forward, 22 metres out from his own line. Back to Lewis. Long punt kick. No one at home. Joe Kilroy well up there, dropping back. It's a long run back for Joe with Lewis coming up with Wynnum-Manly right back to the goalpost. And
interesting to see Wally Lewis chase his own kick then, Arthur. He was well ahead of everyone else and then waited back. He held back until everyone else got in a direct line with him, and then that full defensive line went to take Joe Kilroy, who's been injured in the tackle.
Yes, he was running rather awkwardly when he first got that ball. I think he might have been injured just before that somewhere or other. Kilroy recovers and plays the ball back as it comes to McGraw. And McGraw 22 metres out from his own line. Brothers leading by 6 points to 0 and scored the only try of the match, which was converted. And this time Zillman takes it up and runs into a swarm of defenders. Main defender being Tony Jamot, the second row, was the first man in there. Now to Ferguson. Ferguson unloads to Grogan in the centres. Knocked off balance by Scott and finished by Brett French, the other centre. Now Ferguson, short pass then to Tony Roach. Roach about 32 metres out from his own line. The final tackle. Back it comes to Tim Dwyer and the long punt kick from the centre. Over the head of Brad Morgan, an awkward one for him. Butler has trouble. Butler knocked it on, but Brothers race in to pick it up. It's a Brothers ball with McGraw in possession for Brothers. On it comes to Tapp. Taps over the quarter line now. The ball comes back. Bailey picks up the crumbs and retains possession for Brothers. 22 metres out, rake forward, rake by Brothers, and Dawes finishes with the ball, so that was well done, Wynnum.
Yeah, good thinking from Dawes. He knew that Wynnum-Manly were in a lot of trouble there because Brothers really had a good attacking position and Wynnum-Manly really hadn't recovered from the time that they just lost the ball, so Lewis really had to get that ball back because I feel a try was on for sure.
And it comes to Kajewski. Kajewski stopped in his tracks then. Putting a bit of effort into that run too. It was Johnny Tapp he ran into that really stopped him in his tracks. Across it comes to Dawes, then to Dowling, back inside to Coyne. Coyne missed the pass across, he was in front, and referee saying the ball went forward. The player wasn't in front. The ball went forward, and it's a scrum.
Wynnum-Manly looking just that little bit rusty. Let's have a look at it again. Firstly, Dowling puts the ball back inside to Gary Coyne. Then Gary Coyne looks to the outside, but just has to fire the pass just a touch forward as he was under a bit of pressure. Good refereeing from Ward, who was in good position to do it.
Brothers ball from the scrum as Smith has it. Greg Smith, longer pass to Dwyer. Sees his supports the covers, changes direction and charges through Dwyer. Just about slipped through. With Dawes again, the man round the ankles to stop his progress. Across to Bailey. Bailey to Tap. Slips it across then to Greg Smith, changing direction. Gets inside French. Then on to Foster. Foster looking for the support there. And is eventually knocked down. Scott was the player who knocked him off balance, the centre. And across to Greg Smith, the brothers 5'8". Then to Roach. Further across then to Ferguson and to Dwyer. Dwyer stepping inside but can't get away. Kajewski had knocked him off balance with again that man Dawes in there to finish the tackle. Now Ferguson decides to slip a short pass to Zillman and in turn got it back to McGraw. McGraw 10 metres out from Wynnum line. Brothers putting Wynnum under plenty of pressure, and here's Ferguson running onto the ball and hitting it hard. Lewis and company in there. Jamot to stop his progress, only a few metres out.
What's the right here? What's the right?
The final tackle's on. Zillman's in the dummy half position. The front row forward. Out it goes then to McGraw. Flips it on then to Smith, and Smith puts it up. Morgan's in there to take it, but can't get it loose. Ball picked up by Brothers, and Foster races through and puts the ball down. A try to Brothers, and they lead by 10 points to 0.
The Brothers deserve that try because they've been applying all the pressure in this second half, certainly for the majority of the match, and Wynnum-Manly haven't really had an answer to it. They've always been under pressure whenever they've been in defence, and Brothers just showing that they can really attack, and they've shown some fine attack this afternoon. Good kick here from Smith. The ball was just knocked back there by Brad Morgan as he went high into the air. Eddie Ward signals play on, and Henry Foster places it down for a good try from Brothers. Let's have a look at it again. There was Smith behind the play and had plenty of time to put the ball up. Gets it down pretty well placed near the uprights. Tim Dwyer, of course, always the player for Brothers, trying to get the ball. Certainly came off Brad Morgan's hand. Therefore, it wasn't a knock-on by Brothers, and Henry Foster gets the easiest of tries.
Tim Dwyer attempts the conversion. Brothers leading 10-0. Dwyer's kick. And the flags are up, and Brothers lead 12-0 with 20 minutes left in the match. Wally Lewis restarts play.
A real test of mettle here for Wynnum-Manly now because they're down 12 points to 0 and 20 minutes to go. There's still plenty of time for a side such as Wynnum-Manly. Of course, they were down against North last week. They'll have to do better tackling than that if they're going to hold this Brothers side. They're about to run rampage.
What a run from Russell Klein. Just bumped off those tacklers and took it right up from his own try line to within 10 metres of the halfway mark. Bailey's in the dummy half position. Across to McGraw, a bit slow, going across then to Tap. Johnny Tap up towards halfway. Tackled by Dawes, right round the ankles. Assistant from Brett French up top. Now McGraw is there. Zillman turning it back inside to McGraw again, backing up all the time. 11 metres inside Wynnum-Manly territory. Tynan's into the dummy half position. Bailey and Smith. Further across to Foster. Outside of him, the halfback Grogan's there, but Ian French races in to put him to ground. Kilroy's well up there. Dwyer with that kick for the line, and it goes to the touch. And that takes play about less than 30 metres out from Wynnum-Manly line, so Brothers in a strong attacking position again. But they've got to get the ball from the scrum first.
Yeah, very methodical though from Brothers because they took it up strongly with a couple of rucks, then moved it around and then put the ball into touch, so they're doing it very tidily.
Wynnum-Manly ball from the scrum. Butler, Lewis and Morgan from the fullback position. Morgan wrapped up by Greg Smith. Scott is there. Roach, one of the tacklers with Ferguson. Ferrugia, Lewis. It's a pretty good kick. It's a great kick from Ollie Lewis. That takes play right up to Brothers quarter line. From the scrum. We'll have it in again. Wynnum-Manly ball from the scrum to Lewis. Spinning round, back to, well, I thought it was going back to the halfback, but he stayed with it. 30 metres out from Brothers' line. Ferrugia. Greg Dowling. Short pass then to Naylor. Ferrugia. Jenny. Back in Dawes. Dawes straight on to Ferrugia. Cross to Naylor, losing it as he took it, and a knock on to be played. Brothers ball, penalty.
Straight off the hooker's foot, that one, and the penalty going to Wynnum. And what an important one it is with only 13.5 minutes remaining in the match. Wynnum must score now in the next 5 minutes or so to have any chance at all with a 12-0 deficit at the present time.
Scrum penalties are 4-1 to Wynnum as they take the second kick, and Coyne takes it up. Only 10 metres out from the line now, and that's Dawes running from dummy half position, slung to the ground by Bailey. Assistance from the second row Roach. Ferrugia's dummy half. Moves on everywhere. Ferrugia goes himself and floats the pass away. Looser. Picked up very neatly then by the player. Racing through to put the ball down was that Tony Jamot, the second row forward, and Brothers leading by 12 points to 4.
That's the desperation sort of stuff that Wynnum-Manly had to do. Ferrugia in a rather awkward position to offload the ball, but still knew he had to try and create something. Fades left across the ruck. Brothers' defensive line was gone by that stage. They'd come up too quickly on this left-hand side. Greg Smith was in a position to try and take Ian French, but wasn't watching the ball, and Tony Jamot came through, picked it up untouched then, and just strolled across to put Wynnum's first points on the board. Let's have a look at it again. A few players went right. That allowed Ferrugia to come left. Confused Brothers' defence somewhat, and as he was going to ground, Ferrugia got the pass up. Jamot only had to pick it up on the bounce and dive across for an untouched. There's Strudwick now having a very close talk to his trainer, and he's going to go down and issue instruction now, and Strudwick would be a somewhat worried man with only 12 minutes to go, knowing that Wynnum-Manly have hit back now with still time to go in the match, that they could easily come back and at least square this one up.
Warren Green attempts a conversion. It's a good kick there all the way. The flags are up, and so only 6 points separate the teams. Brothers leading Wynnum-Manly by 12 points to 6, and it could be anyone's game. Tim Dwyer restarts play for Brothers, leading by 12 points to 6. The first scorers in the match, 9 for Wynnum-Manly and 3 for Brothers. First scorers 9 and 3 for Wynnum and Brothers respectively. Wynnum send it on to Dowling. Ferrugia's there. Decides to go himself and makes a good run up the middle. Ferrugia, beautifully done to Coyne over the halfway mark. He's got support coming up alongside of him. There's Ian French. French looks for the support too, and back it comes Jamot. Jamot's racing away just about through. Tosses a pass across, but Kilroy picks it up to save the day for Brothers, just as Wynnum-Manly looked like cutting them to pieces. And Kilroy finally got in the way of that pass. And that was everything bar shut the gate there.
Yeah, it could have been a match saver, that one from Joe Kilroy. I'm sure it could end up being the real turning point in the match. But Wynnum-Manly finally finding some gaps up the middle of the Brothers' defence, and they went on with it with some good backup, but Brothers just back in desperation to make sure the try wasn't scored. Let's have a look at it again. As Ferrugia ducked away from dummy half, there was a player in Brothers' team that had slipped over there, got the ball back in nicely to Coyne. Look at the good backup here from Wynnum. Every player doing his job. I thought Ian French should have passed there. 2 men overlap. French went back on the inside, found Jamot. Jamot looked like he'd go all the way, just fired the ball up, and Naylor couldn't get it because Kilroy came in just in time to snatch it from him and save the day for Brothers.
Now, Gary Smith is a replacement in the Brothers lineups. Roach is off the field. Now, McGraw it is, he'll play it back this time. Bailey runs from dummy half, and there's Jenner over the top, one of the replacements. Now, Foster, across then to Zillman. Final tackle indicated from the referee Eddie Ward. Spun back to Dwyer, getting his kick in over the halfway mark. Scott's back there in the fullback position. Colin Scott, and he runs it up towards the halfway mark. There's Terry Butler with him, and Terry Butler put down 6-7 metres inside his own territory with Foster and Dwyer, the two tacklers, over the top. Now this is Brett French in the centre, so just about getting through, but stopped by Foster. Almost make a half break there, just over halfway. Coyne Sends it across to his halfback. Lewis is there and decides to run himself. Wally Lewis. Lewis has got support everywhere there, but eventually sends it back. I thought it was going to go across to Naylor, that blonde-headed player up alongside, but it went the other way. And it's Jenner, in fact, who plays it back to Naylor. Across to Lewis. That long pass now to Dowling. Dowling sends looks for the support. Does. Gets it back to Dawes. Can Wynnum-Manly pull this one out of the fire? They came from a long way back against Norths last week, but Brothers, of course, are a stronger team than Norths. Lewis sends it back now as it goes to French. He couldn't hold it. Picked up by Dowling. The knock-on to be played. Said the referee in the crowd of about 12 to 14,000. Don't agree with that. Brothers ball. Foster getting around on the blind side, but that's as far as he can go. 6.5 minutes left.
Of course, not only 2 points on this match, and of course, if Brothers do win it, they've got a far better for and against than Wynnum-Manly. They got up to 26 points equal with Wynnum-Manly and be on top on averages, which is very important at this stage of the season. And of course, this is the Woolies Trophy final. $8,500 for the winner of this match and $3,000 for the loser. And Wynnum-Manly, in dire financial straits, would have dearly loved to pick up that $8.5 grand.
And of course the minor premiership could go with this match, whoever wins this game.
My word, only about 3 games to go now for the end of the season, and if Brothers can stay ahead and keep winning, Wynnum-Manly would find it very difficult to catch them on for and against.
Johnny Tapp to play it back to Bailey. Then Ferguson. Gets it back to Zillman. Zillman across to McGraw, the second row forward. And John McGraw just short of halfway. Final tackles on. Ball will go back to Dwyer, no doubt. There he is, Tim Dwyer. A very long kick from him, and well taken, Terry Butler. A bit awkward one for him, but he took it well. Near his quarter line, beats the first tackle of the player racing through was Gary Smith, but then was stopped just outside of his quarter line. Now Wally Lewis sends it onto his hooker, across to Scott. Colin Scott away from that first tackle of Ferguson's and feeds Brett French. Brett French up towards the halfway mark. Here's the winger flying through Warren Green. Green's looking for support. On comes Naylor. Naylor can't get back inside. Well stacked top. Joe Kilroy, the tackler again. 22 metres out. It's a brilliant attack from Wynnum-Manly. Warren Green's in dummy half position. Out it comes to Ferrugia. Further across to half-back Dawes. Dawes changes direction and loses the ball. Brothers ball. Gathered by Tynan.
Well, what a great game of rugby league we've seen here this afternoon. Brothers have thrown everything at Wynnum-Manly, and then there's Des Morris, somewhat disappointed. He's also there with David Green alongside him, and Gene Miles. Would love to have seen those two out there today, but they weren't there, and Brothers being by far the better side. They deserve their lead of 12 points to 6, and there's still 4.5 minutes to go in the match. But certainly Brothers have been the better side. They've thrown the ball out wide. They've attacked very strongly. Wynnum-Manly, on the other hand, have looked good in patches. They've come back brilliantly here, showing that they are a champion team, as we all knew. But really, in the early stages of the match, they didn't get their act together, and that's where Wynnum-Manly have let themselves down. I felt that Colin Scott was somewhat wasted in the centres. I felt that he's really shown his true worth when he's gone back to fullback. Wally Lewis has tried to inspire the side, particularly in the latter part of the match. But really, Wynnum-Manly somewhat disappointing. They really haven't tried to throw the ball around, and Brothers have been able to contain them in and around the middle of the ruck. One of Wynnum-Manly's best players certainly has been Ian French. I thought he played very strongly today. French, whenever he got opportunities, although at times he didn't offload the ball, I felt when he had players in better position than what he was. If we look at that Brothers side, I got no doubt that one of their strengths has been the ability of both front rowers to offload the ball. Brett Ferguson has really grasped the opportunity of playing in first grade with both hands, and he's had a great game today, as has the two halves, Henry Foster and Greg Smith. I thought they played really well today. Henry Foster returning from injury also. Joey Kilroy's done all he had to do at fullback, and I felt the two centres, particularly Tim Dwyer. Tim Dwyer has shown real strength and keenness in this match, and I think Brothers, if they are to go on and win this match, certainly must thank Tim Dwyer for a great performance.
This is Terry Butler, 10 metres inside Brothers territory. That brought the crowd to their feet. Across to Lewis, and then to Jenner, dummy to Lewis, gets this pass back to Ian French, bursting through, but well stopped, losing the ball in the tackle. Then it was knocked on. Well, it was knocked on before that anyway. It was a Wynnum-Manly player trying to pick it up, so we'll have the scrum.
Another replacement for Brothers, and they're really showing their strength now, Brothers. Shane McElwain coming on as a replacement so late in the game, only a couple of minutes to go, just a little bit over 3 minutes, and Brothers bringing on some really trump cards here.
We'll pick up who's left the field at the moment. McElwain's on.
Ferguson off.
Ferguson off the field. Foster's ball into the scrum. Brothers' ball caught by Dawes. Foster to play it back. There's McElwain, conspicuous in that clean jersey up into the dummy half position. Was out with injuries for some time, Shane McElwain, but has had a couple of runs back, 3 runs back in the lower grades. It's pretty hard to crack this Brothers top side at the present stage, as it comes on to Kilroy. Kilroy caught by the jersey by Coyne in that jersey sling tackle. McElwain. Joe's not too happy with Coyne as the pass comes on to Zillman, who's been doing his job all day, doing it quite well.
Tell you who has done his job too is this fella just about to take the ball now. Johnny McGraw had a fine game, really took the ball up strongly, tackled well. So was Trevor Bailey, certainly one of Brothers' better players, the captain and hooker Trevor Bailey, and he's done a really top-class job.
Brothers leading by 12 points to 6. This Woolies Trophy final. Waiting for McGraw to get to his feet. John McGraw plays it back for Brothers. Back it goes to Dwyer, gets his kick in and knocked on then by the Wynnum-Manly player on the wing, Warren Green. Knocked the ball on, so Brothers will be happy about that. Takes play 12 metres inside Wynnum-Manly territory.
It should be shut the gate for Brothers now. They win the scrum with less than 2 minutes to go. They should be able to close it up.
Brothers leading by 12 points to 6. And we'll have that scrum reset. Foster's ball in, Brothers' ball, and it's a penalty. It's a penalty to Wynnum-Manly, and that's just what they needed. Dowling's having a good laugh there. He's pretty pleased about it. 5 scrum penalties against Brothers in this match, and the penalty takes play 10 metres inside Brothers' territory with a second kick to come, so there's still a chance for Wynnum-Manly as Dowling charges onto the ball and hits it hard. Hits the line hard, 30 metres out. Greg Dowling, there's his hooker there. Now Coyne's there. Look, Coyne's trying to get through. But plenty of attention for him. Just outside Brothers' quarter line, Ferrugia, Dawes, Lewis. Gets away from the first tackle in. Hull stands in the tackle, onto Dowling. Dowling gets it back. Then here's the hooker again, Ferrugia, who took it from Jenner. 20 metres out from Brothers' line. Jamot's into the dummy half position. Here's Wally Lewis getting into the action across that high pass, but Brothers, Wynnum lucky to finish with that. Brian Naylor was the player with it. Brothers had quite a strong chance of picking up that loose ball. Across to Dowling. Dowling putting it across now for the kick. Kilroy having trouble with it, but knocks it back, then clears his own try line by centimetres. And it's Brothers to play it back. Tynan's in the dummy half position.
Since either after, I think, to see this great crowd here at Lang Park, 15,000 people, and that certainly lifted the players this afternoon for one of the best matches we've seen at Lang Park for a long time.
Yes, only a few seconds left. 10 seconds left in the game as McElwain takes it up for Brothers, and the crowd on the countdown now. Brothers leading 12 points to 6, and it's all over bar the shouting. There's the full-time hooter. Bailey runs it up with it and dives with the ball, and that's it for the ball game. And Brothers have beaten the premiers of last season, Wynnum-Manly by 12 points to 6, scoring 2 tries to 1. Tries to Brothers by Robert Grogan and Henry Foster. Wynnum-Manly try by Tony Jamot. Now in the scrums, in that department, Wynnum-Manly were beaten in the scrums. Brothers won the scrums 16-11. The penalties went to Wynnum-Manly by 10-5, and the scrum penalties to Wynnum-Manly 5-1. Oh, sorry, I don't have to give those at the end, do I? No, forgot about that. That's half-time.
The big league Winfield Cup man of the match, Brothers 5'8", Greg Smith. Greg, did you really expect you could beat Wynnum-Manly today?
Well, if we were going to beat him today, it was going to be the day, because we've really been training well. And we've won 5 on the trot, so, this was it.
Greggy, you played mostly halfback in your career. Do you enjoy playing 5'8"?
Well, it's a new experience, David. As you said, I've played halfback most of my career, so it's a good change.
Noticeable that Ross Strawberry's got your cover defending behind the line and some great cover defending tackles, which I think had a significant effect on today's game. Do you enjoy that role?
Yeah, well, that's mainly what I used to do at halfback, so I'm pretty well playing my halfback style.
And plenty of service from inside to give those backs plenty of room to move?
We've got the backs to do it with, so we should use them.
Was that the intent of the game plan today, to get the ball out wide against Wynnum-Manly?
When we could, yeah.
Certainly paid off. Well done, Greg. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, David.
Now, the details of the scoring in the scrums. Brothers won 16-11. Tightheads 0-all. The penalties went to Wynnum-Manly 10-5. In the try-scoring department, Brothers scored 2 tries to 1, with Tim Dwyer kicking 2 goals out of 2 and Warren Green 1 out of 1 for Wynnum-Manly. And the final score, Brothers 12 defeated Wynnum-Manly 6. In the outside grounds at Bishop Park, Nunda, Valleys defeated Norths by 32 points to 14. At Langlands Park, East home ground, Souths crushed them by 52 points to 12. And at Purtell Park, Redcliffe much too good for West, winning by 40 points to 6. The Cup ladder, Brothers now on top on percentages over Wynnum-Manly, both with 26 points, but Brothers lead on percentages with Wynnum-Manly second, Souths in third place on 24 points, Valleys fourth now on 20 points, just ahead of Easts on 18. Next Sunday's matches, the main game between Valleys and Souths here at Lang Park. Valleys play Souths here at Lang Park next Sunday. At Purtell Park, it's West and Norths. At Dolphin Oval, Redcliffe play Wynnum-Manly. And at Corbett Park, Brothers play Easts. Well, a big crowd here today, certainly made for lots of atmosphere, and we'll be hoping for a similar crowd next week for the game between Souths and Valleys. That should be a great game. Only 3 games remaining now before the first semi-final on the 1st of September. Thanks for being with us. Hope you enjoyed the game. Good night.
Tonight on ABC Quantum, the series looking at developments in science and technology. This week, a bulletproof sandwich wrap and the riddle of black holes. Just 2 of the subjects examined in Quantum, at 10:15 tonight.